Hi friends, welcome to the channel Learning R is Fun. In our last two videos, we have learnt about tidy data concept, the tidyverse packages, and then of course we have done some work on converting wide data into long format and vice versa. We have also seen the tidyverse package functions, and we have learnt about tibbles, which are the building blocks in tidyverse packages. Now in this video we will be doing some work on piping. What you see is the Spitfire aircraft manufacturing facility. This facility was operational in the early 1930s. From 1938 to through World War II, Spitfire aircrafts were the mainstay of British Air Force. In a factory like this, initially a piece of metal known as job will move from one machine to another in a particular order, and then as they move along, each machine will add something to it, and finally a sub-assembly will be created, and this kind of sub-assemblies are manufactured in different lines, and then finally all these sub-assemblies are given to another workshop wherein all these assemblies are assembled, and what you get is the Spitfire aircraft. So this analogy is something which we can keep for piping. Another analogy I would say is the life of a student. A student goes through various study processes, preschool and then schooling, then he gets into college, finally he comes out victorious in the colleges. And while doing so, they also do some extracurricular activities. They study R, they study Python, etc. sometimes simultaneously. So when you complete base R, intermediate R, gets introduced to data science concepts, then finally you attempt a career. When you are attempting a career with this background, you are bound to succeed, and that super career is going to what you are going to get. All these steps in life can be considered as piping from one stage to the another. Now, enough of analogies. Now we'll get on to the business. Basic reasons for using pipes is the streamlined manner in which the data flows from left to right instead of from nested function calls. What is a nested function call? We'll see in the RStudio. And at each stage, when the job moves in the factory analogy, it need not be stored somewhere. It can be taken from one machine to the another, like in an assembly line. So local storages are avoided. Local variables in this case will be avoided. And pipes are also very useful in establishing the principle one thing at a time, and that done well. That we concentrate on that particular job, and then when the job is perfectly done, we move on to the next stage. In data manipulation operations, generally we involve filter, transform, aggregate operations, and all this can be combined very easily using piping. In piping, basically what happens is LHS data is passed on to the right hand side function. Normally, right hand side you will have a function. The function will have arguments. The LHS data will go as the first argument in the function which is on the right hand side. In the example, what you see on the screen is 1 colon 10, it's a vector. This vector, integer vector, is passed on to the mean function. So mean 1 colon 10, and mean 1 colon 10 is, you get 5.5. We'll see more such examples. So the pipe concept will be very clear. And pipes are having their own variations. One is a compound assignment operator, what you see with the less than and greater than symbol in between two percentages. What happens is it works just like a pipe, and at the end of the operations, whatever data you obtain, you just copy it back to the original data. The second case is a T-pipe. T-pipe is like when you pass on the data from left to right. While doing so, right hand side function sometimes will not return that data. It will consume the data. Say a plot function. The plot function takes the data, makes a plot, that's all. So the data is lost. The data you want to retain, the transformed data which you finally give to plot, if you want to retain, then you need to write separate code. You can use a T pipe and siphon that into that another variable. We'll see that. When you use percentage, $%, left hand side data may have various columns and their column names, and those names will have to be given in the right hand side function. So what you do is, here we have got a data df which is indicating the details of European Union stock indices. 4 such indices have been taken and their data is plotted over a period of 1992 to 1998 and beyond. Now this data is passed on to the next statement, which is group by key, and then it is passed on index underscore by function. Like that it gets passed on to next summarize, then select, then mutate. After whatever data processing has been done, it is given to ggplot, which is nothing but a plot with certain parameters for showing title, etc. And now finally what you get on the right hand side is the chart. Now this sort of operations will help us to understand the whole process very clearly. The same thing has to be written in conventional R, then there will be nested functions and lot of interim variables, etc., which can be avoided. You will be able to write this kind of code in about another 2 to 3 videos from now, after we complete dplyr and ggplot. We will now go to the RStudio. I have got the script for today's session. We will start off with the first command, library pacman. Then with the pload function of the pacman, we will see tidyverse is loaded and we will see what all have been loaded. We see tidyverse, magrittr, tibble, all these things are there. So we need not explicitly load library magrittr. Okay. Now we will pass on integer 1:100 to the mean function. We get result as 50.5. It is as good as serial number 15 statement, which is mean of 1 to 100. Now we are going to give some trivial examples. Empty cars dataset which comes along with R is passed on to the head function. So you get standard 6 rows. Here I have put a period. So empty cars will go in the place of period. So head empty cars 4 rows will be shown. The next statement, that is statement 21, empty cars passed on to head function, but I am not mentioning any period, so it will go as a first argument in any case, and then there is a 4. So you will get the same result of 4 rows. Now we will see how nested function is nested feature of functions is avoided using pipe operator. So years is a factor, because factor 2001 to 2012 is a function. So we get years as a factor. Now to get back the numerics 2001 to 2012 from factor, you have to convert it as character and then to as numeric. So that's what happens here. So you get back the original result. But you look at this statement at serial number 31. Here what we do, years we pass on with pipe to as character and then from then to as numeric. Then you get the same result. So here there is a nesting, years, character, as numeric, from inside to outside, whereas here it is left to right and starting from this years. So this is a very clear logical approach. That is the success of pipe. Okay. Now we will see certain examples which are going to be similar, but the syntax we can understand. Paste 1:5, letters 1:5. So you take one from here and then A from here and join together. Like that it's going to work. So you get 1A, 2B, space is because of the paste function. The same thing we do again. Instead of that we use a pipe here. Instead of the 2 arguments shown here, I am going to use a pipe. So 1:5 will go into the paste function and then the another argument is letters 1:5. So it's going to give the same result. Now what we'll do, we'll move on. Statement at 40, 1:5, paste. In the place of 1:5, I am going to put a dot. So 1:5 will not only get passed as the first argument to the paste function here, it will also go here where the period is there. So you get the same result. Now 1:5 paste, instead of just leaving it without mentioning, I am going to mention that also. That means you bring 1:5 here, also in letters also you bring. So this way also you can write, it is one and the same. Now you don't want this 1:5 as a first argument in paste function, but you want 1:5 in the place where dot is there. In such cases you have to use a curly brace. So what happens is 1:5 is not passed on as a first argument in paste. Therefore paste will have only one argument, that is letters. Here you got 1.5, so you got only A, B, C, D, E. Now this is another way of saying thing. 1:5. Here instead of giving a dot, I am writing letters 1:5. So you are preventing 1:5 from passing on as the first argument here. So the whole thing is redundant now, because 1:5 is not used in the right hand side, because pipe operator tries to pass it, but the curly operator is going to stop it. So what you get ultimately is space letters 1:5. So these are all explained so that you understand various syntaxes and how to prevent the piping function normally taking place as the first argument. Okay, we'll see another example where we are using grepl function. Grepl function basically finds out whether the first string is available in the second string within the arguments and then says true or false. Now let us first take out this substring, Ctrl C, we'll put it in the console and then execute. Here what's happening, we are asking substring of hello world starting from 7 up to 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So world is the, W is the 7th letter and 11th letter is D. So world is what is going to result, and that you have seen here. And now here in grepl, WO world. WO is available in world, therefore it is to give true. It is going to give true. Now the same thing I have done, but here I have passed on hello world using pipe to the substring. In the substring I have not mentioned the string again, and then from here I am passing on to the grepl function where I am saying pattern is WO. I can simply write W also, it is one and same. So I am getting the same result. This is another variation where I am, instead of writing WO, pattern is WO, I am writing WO, I am also writing what is coming up from the left hand side here. So here also I am getting true. Here I am using the period twice. Paste what comes from the left hand side, high, again another dot. So world comes up from the left hand side, high, again world, with the space in between because of the paste. Okay, now hope you understood. With many examples sometimes confusion will come, but if you look at each example slowly, you will understand them better. You can experiment. Now we will create a data frame, tibble, but we will give the name df. Tibble x is 5 random uniform numbers, minimum is 0, maximum is 1, and in case of y, random normal numbers where mean is 0 and standard deviation is 1. Here you will get in uniform, you will get minimum, maximum. Here you will get mean and standard deviation. So this df will create, it's a tibble. Now in this tibble we want to extract x. Then normally we do df $x. We get the result. We write here df $x. Get the result. But if I am using pipe symbol, I have to put a dot. Df pipe symbol dot. So in the dot df comes. then df $x, the same thing as this. That's how it is working. In case of double square bracket also the same result. I have to use a dot here. Okay, why should I use like this when I am straight away df $x works? Why I should put a pipe and then also dot? This will be more clear when the left hand side is not very clear, like what we are seeing as df. It's going to be a sequence of various operations, and left hand side is something which we know is a data frame or table, but we have not given any name to it. In such a situation, putting a dollar symbol next to that particular location will be meaningless. So, whereas here this becomes very clear. Okay, we'll use a T operator. Now, the T operator basically helps us to siphon out the data. I have explained in the slide. Now, we will use a random normal numbers, 100 numbers will generate, and then that will pass on to the matrix where n column is 2, therefore number of rows will be 50, and that is going to be passed on to the plot. So, plot has to function, but that data is not going to be passed on to structure. So, what you get is a null, because plot function plots the data, but it is not passing on any data. Plot is not returning the data. That's why you are getting null. But you got the plot here. But if you are using a T pipe, what happens? We have already loaded library Magitar, so that is not required. Now, rnorm 100, same thing. But here I am using, instead of a normal pipe, I am using a T pipe. So, what happens is the data is passed on to plot, also passed on. Data is also passed on separately, and that goes to the structure. So, you get the data also and you see the structure also. These values will be differing because every time normal variables will be generated will be different. So, what I am showing here will not be the same here. So, you got this. Now, suppose here I am using the pipe operation, but I want this data to be stored also. So, in that case I am assigning my matrix where this has to be stored. So, what happens is the data is plotted, also it is stored in my matrix. I ask what is my matrix, I get the data. We see here 2 columns and 50 rows. Okay. Now, there is an exposition operator. The empty cars has got various columns, 11 columns, and these 11 column names will be passed on from LHS to the RHS. Here we are using a correlation function, correlation of displacement with respect to miles per gallon. This is what we are asking. We have not given empty cars, empty cars, $MPG. Straight away the code has become very simple with the exposition operator. Okay, there is a negative correlation and a very high correlation. I am going to create a empty cars new table, and empty cars we will pass on to the transform function where the cylinder column I am going to replace by twice the value, and then this data whatever I have got, that will be not only shown on the screen, it has to be stored in empty cars new also. So, that is what I am going to do. So, we will see environment, empty cars new, we have got 32 observation, 11 variables. So, in this if you look at cylinder, it is 12, 12 etc. for the first 2 rows. We will use empty cars here. Here if we look at cylinder, it is 6, 6. This 6 has become 12, 12 here. Okay. So, what has happened is empty cars new has been created with a change in the particular column also. The whole thing can be done using this pipe operator also, that is component assign operators, where I am saying empty cars itself should be changed like this. So, the empty cars will get changed with this. So, now if I look at empty cars, I got 12, 12 here. So, original data set itself gets changed with the compound assignment operator. Now, we have come to the end of this session. In this we have seen various types of operators, as well as how the data is passed on from left hand side to right hand side as a first argument, and wherever period is mentioned. But if you want this operation as a first argument should be stopped, then you have to use curly braces. Next video will be about dplyr, where various data manipulation functions will be explained. Thanks for watching, and bye from now.